yourself sooner or later. In this video we will show you a complete wrist preparation routine. We will include exercises for the flexion and extension and of course for the 2 abduction movements. Before we set our wrist under pressure, we start with some circles to warm them up. After that, we continue with pressing our wrists together. We do this with our palms and the back of our hands. Before we start the harder exercises, we show you how you can adjust each exercise to your level. The secret is to adapt your wrist slowly and step by step to the pressure. Start each exercise on your knees with your hands close to your body. You can adjust the difficulty by increasing the distance from your hands to your knees. Exercises are for the wrist flexors. In the first position, the fingers point to your knees and you slightly add pressure on your wrists by shifting the weight in circles. In the second position, you place your hands with outward pointing fingers. From there, you shift your weight from left to right. Now we move on to the extensors. Here we are switching the position of our hands. These movements are very uncomfortable if you're not used to it, but it will build up a strong wrist. Always remember, start with an easier version first. It's okay if these exercises are hard for you, but you shouldn't feel any uncomfortable pain. For the next movement, start with your fists on the ground and use the extensors to shift your hand position. Always take care that your arms are fully but not overextended. Now we are done with the extensors and flexors and we are moving on to the abductors. Here we combine 2 movements in one exercise. First of all, you lean yourself forward. When you do this, the weight should last on your forefingers and knuckles. When you shift your weight back, you do a kind of push-up where the weight lasts on the pinky, the knuckle and a little bit on the side of the hand, which will help you to perform handstands, planches or exercises like bench or military press without pain or a higher risk of injury.
To make this exercise easier, you can tuck your knees in. Make sure you press into the floor so you don't sag in your shoulder, push the floor away. Make sure you contract your upper abs as well.
This is my shrug, and this is out, and we just want to repeat that motion. Up, out of the shrug, and practice lifting the knees up and down. The other variation of this is to lift the legs forward and down. I'm out of my shrug. I'm not down here in the shrug, but pushing way up out at the top and squeezing the legs together in that basic isometric position that we first started our shrugs with. And I'll move my hands from side to side, traveling forward. Practice traveling, turning to a front support, and then reach back to a rear support. And again, all this is done out of the shrug positions.
O exercício do nível 1 é o tuck lever, ou tuck raise. Você vai fazer um knee raise e agrupar o joelho lá no peito e subir o tronco e deixar na horizontal. Praticamente o início é o knee raise, mas depois você faz a elevação do seu tronco e com o joelho bem grupado, ou tuck lever. E o último exercício do nosso nível 1 as escápulas lá atrás e tentar elevar o seu tronco por inteiro, sem deixar o quadril cair. Observe o quadril do Luiz bem encaixado, o movimento inteiro. Agora os exercícios são um pouco...
And we do that by slowly extending our body, starting in a tucked position, going up and down like that, and then slowly pushing out one leg. And once we can do it with one leg, we can start to move to an advanced tuck. And then with time and training, we can just slowly extend and push our legs all the way out. You want to remember for this one that negatives are going to be very beneficial, as all three are needed to hold yourself into that position. To progress in this movement, we can start with side planks, and then add a little dip to it. If you want to make it easier, you can elevate yourself a little bit, and if you want to make it harder, you can put it on a decline. But really try to feel it in your obliques as you go up and down. Another one we can practice progress towards this flag as well, just building up some strength. We have some more strength now, so we can do 45-degree flags. These work the same muscles as a human flag, just at a slightly less angle, so it's going to be a little easier. And try to hold this one for 10 to 15 seconds. To learn this one, the best way to start is with the frog pose, which is a pretty alpha exercise. I like this one, and you can slowly move your knees higher. Headstand, which is great for finding that alignment and also finding our balance point. After that, we can do this variation of knee raises. To perform this, push your shoulder blades into protraction and try to round your back as much as possible. And it's okay if you can't go that high. Eventually you're going to improve and you're still going to be targeting your core even if you can't go all the way.
Cuando empiece en hacerlo solo, cuento 3, 1, 2, 3. Meto ombligo. Y eso es meter el ombligo hacia adentro, ¿vale? 2, 3. Y suelto. 1, 2, 3. Y suelto. 1, 2, 3.
The first exercise that I want to teach you is the overhead band support. This is great for increasing overhead strength, stability, and body awareness. The great thing about this exercise, this way when you're in a handstand, you already have correct activation, and it's something that you won't. As far as correct activation, legs squeeze together, and then I want you to tuck your tail with a posterior pelvic tilt. From here, brace the stomach, and then reach up as high as possible without losing stomach tensions, because this is going to replicate the visual situation that we use when we're to be shoulder width apart and your feet together. We're trying to replicate the body mechanics in a handstand once again with this drill.
we're building correct bracing strength, and we're building the ability to breathe naturally and comfortably into our stance upside down for the first time. It's really important to have the strength to be able to open the shoulders in a handstand, so working on the pike handstand shrug is the perfect fix for increasing overhead strength, stability, and range of motion. Last, between the hands, as this is where the eyes should be looking during a handstand. You're going to side-to-side imbalances because you're getting a unilateral effect. You're forced to shrug extra hard through one side at a time because make sure that you're pushing actively through the shoulder, keeping the shoulder shrugged up on the side that has the hand on the floor. Harder because you're spending longer on one arm at a time. I'm a big fan of shoulder and waist taps because the exercise is fun to do. During the set, you can focus on swapping sides and the time tends to go pretty quickly. I don't know if at any point you want to stop, you simply walk back down the wall. As before, I want you to keep your hands shoulder width apart, having those elbows locked completely straight, pushing nice and tall through the shoulders, elevation. Tuck that tail with a posterior towards your hands. You should now be on your tippy toes and you should be focusing on getting your hips over your shoulders. You won't be able to do this, but it's the intention to do this which will put you in a good position to do the exercise. Now what you want to do is lower down, trying to get your head further forward of your hands, really focusing on that forward lean, and then you pretty much just reverse the motion, trying to really open up your shoulders, elevate your shoulders at the quickest gains you can from the movement is the forward lean. You should really try and get that head as far forward of your hands as you can. This is going to further load the shoulders, increase the specific
de remar para subir e descer o seu tronco. São as remadas na posição de tuck. E o outro exercício do nosso nível 2 é um movimento do nível 2, já exige um fortalecimento mínimo para você conseguir realizar. Tente segurar nessa posição o maior tempo possível, deixando o seu quadril ativa com a perna. É um exercício um pouquinho mais complexo. Você começa lá em cima, como se fosse numa posição de vela, com as pernas encostadas na barra, assim como ele está demonstrando. Mantenha o joelho grupado no peito, a outra perna bem estendida e faz a descida da maneira mais controlada possível. Varie as pernas entre uma execução e outra. Faça com a perna esquerda, depois com a perna direita. Você tentar deixar o seu quadril mais alto possível e realizar essa descida de maneira lenta e controlada. Ainda no nível 3, depois de realizar a descida com uma perna só, de maneira negativa, você vai tentar realizar a descida e a subida também, como você está vendo aí no vídeo. Agora o nosso último exercício então de fortalecimento depois desse exercício é a descida e a subida de maneira spread ou com as pernas abertas. Então você vai estender as duas pernas e manter ela o mais aberto que você puder. Você vai